everyone. Welcome back to today's Seniors Living Well. And I am graced with one of the seniors in Amador County who really is living well and has done many, many things in his life. And I think that if I were blind and I heard this gentleman say hello, I would know this is Cedric Clute, because you have such a great voice.
Hello, Laurie, and thank you very much for the compliment. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
How long have you actually been in Amador County?
Well, we've lived here, 37 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Came up from San Francisco. But long before that, we were coming up because we had film festivals at the St. George Hotel. I think the first one was around 1960.
Now, when you say we had film festivals, who's we?
What brought us up here was a combination of my brother and his partner, a trombone player by the name of Turk Murphy, had the Turk Murphy Jazz Band in San Francisco. And
I know Turk Murphy.
We had a nightclub there, a place called Earthquake Magoons, and that's where I worked. And I worked there 20-odd years, and we would come up here twice a year and have film festivals at the St. George Hotel. Of course, this was before the days of video, so we had a doctor friend who had a collection of movies, and he would set the whole thing up in the lounge in Volcano, and we spent a couple of days there. So that's how we got to know Volcano. But the first time we ever came up here was, my Lord, in the middle 50s, when Joey Griffith, who owned the St. George, wanted to reopen the swimming pool, which was directly across the street from the hotel where the park is now. It was a community swimming pool.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
And after the war, it was filled in because everybody thought they'd be sued if someone cracked their head or did this or that.
Yeah.
So they had a street dance, and the Turk Murphy Jazz Band came up and played, and how much money they got, I don't know, because they never did open the swimming pool. But so that's how we got to know Volcano. And after 20 years in the nightclub business, my wife and I said, hey, it's time. We can't continue this lifestyle. And so we packed up and had no job, nothing, just moved to Volcano, bought some land out of Volcano, between Volcano and Fiddletown. And her brother came down from Washington with his girlfriend in an Airstream trailer, and we built our house.
And you still
None
live
of us
here?
knew. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We finally, after 37 years in the house cutting wood and cleaning snow off a 1-mile dirt road, we sold it. And now we're living just 2 minutes away up on Church.
Oh, excellent. That gives you more time to do all the wonderful things that you're involved in now.
Well, I really, Jackson is a wonderful, Amador County is wonderful, so we're blessed to be here.
Right.
And
so one of the things that we like to know about is people like you who stay active with many different things. Can you tell us a little about what keeps you going, what keeps you getting up every day?
Yes, books of lists.
Okay, it says on it, if you can't see it says abnormal brain.
Do you know where that term came from?
No. Well, I'm a psych nurse, so I know what I think it came from, but...
The movie Frankenstein, the 1931 movie with Boris Karloff. Well, in it, Fritz, Dr. Frankenstein's assistant, has to get a brain for the monster. And he goes into this lab, and someone hears him coming, and he grabs the wrong one. He grabs the bottle that is labeled abnormal brain. So I've always remembered that, and I think it's a good idea to keep a book of lists, because when you get older, you tend to forget things. I think anybody probably does.
Oh, yeah, your brain gets full.
I find that I can at least accomplish something if I make a list in the morning. And as part of that, that keeps you from multitasking? Because I think it's a disease. Do one thing and do one thing at a time well. And you try to do too many things that look at all the kids that are texting and tweeting and whatever. I don't think they get too much done. But anyway, that's only coming from an old person's viewpoint.
It's interesting you should say that, because a young woman just wrote to me and said that we were talking about computers in healthcare, and she said that the company that her partner works for, develops reading programs, and it's all run by 30-year-olds, and they're also busy doing web meetings and Google groups and all that, that she said Amanda feels like they're not getting a lot done.
I'd probably agree with her. I mean, I don't know if I'm right, but...
Well, different
I mean, having
times.
lived out in the woods, if you don't, if you're cutting wood, you better keep your mind on that one thing, or you're going to cut a finger off or a foot off.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Go ahead.
But when we came to Amador County, I had no job, and I was lucky enough to get a job through the CETA program, and that was a program that helped people who were having a hard time. And I got a job going around the county interviewing old-timers, and I did that through the Amador County Historical Society. So I did that for a year and a half. I discovered that all the rules and the ways you were expected to do this didn't work, because most people, you couldn't go up to them and say, I want to interview you, and now sit down and I have this list of questions. They'll shut up like a clam. So I found out I had to take my little tape recorder and hide it behind a chair, and maybe an hour into talking to them, I'd get them going on some subject. Then I had to take it home, and I just had a little stand-up Royal typewriter, and I'd turn the tape machine on and listen to a sentence and then click it out, and I did that for 200 or some odd interviews.
Wow.
And then I lucked out, and someone was retiring from the library, and not many people did then, and I got offered the job to work there. I did that, and then got a chance to go up to the museum, so I went there, and during this time got to know Jim Geedy, and they asked me if I'd take some of these oral histories that I'd done and do them on the radio. So I did that. So I guess I've been doing Tales of the Mother Lode for 30 years.
Oh, that's amazing. And I will sometimes schedule my drive in the morning so that I can, because I can listen to the radio on my car radio.
I'm truly blessed. I have to thank KVGC Radio for allowing me to do that, and for you to allow me to come here and talk today.
Oh, well, we're delighted to have you here today. And what a wealth of history you have tucked in that head of yours. So you did about 200 interviews, you said, and you transcribed them all on a typewriter, and that's the basis that you're using for the Tales of the Mother Lode? Or don't you have some books? And no?
I wrote a book, The Argonaut Mine Disaster, and then we did at the radio station, we did a 12-part dramatization of it. And if I live long enough, I'll be around to hear the 100th, which will be in 22.
In 2022?
In 2022, which isn't too far off.
Not too far off.
But anyway, I've done that, and then I did a book of, we also, when we were in San Francisco, we had a nightclub devoted to magic in addition to Earthquake Magoons, because, make a long story short, we had bought some old cars in England and had to move them and ran them through a false wall in this warehouse in San Francisco, and some junk that belonged to an old magician popped out, and we said, "What's this?" And they rambled on, and they said, "Well, we've got to clear it out. We don't know how much is here. Give us $200 and get it out of here." And so 30 tons later, we found the collection of Carter the Great, who was a business partner of Harry Houdini, and we opened a nightclub devoted to that. So it was underneath Earthquake Magoons.
Magoons,
You'd never get away with it today, but then we did. And so that was a lot of fun, too.
That's wonderful. Well, I hope that you keep finding ways to share all the history that you have. It's just so wonderful that someone still has all that in their memory.
Well, that's why
you
I
keep
have
the
my
books.
book of
Yeah,
lists.
yeah.
But anyway, it's been a pleasure. What I wanted to say, keep life simple if you possibly can. There are too many outside influences that are coming in that just are ready to pound you into the ground if you don't watch it. So try to, I haven't been doing it, but try to keep your mouth shut and listen to other people.
Well, I love to hear you talk, and I think that the advice to try to focus and do things well certainly has served you well all your life, and some of us ought to probably take a lesson from it. Thank you for being here today, Cedric.
It's a great pleasure,
It's been
Laurie.
wonderful to
Thank
talk
you.
to you. Keep on talking. Stay
I
tuned.
will.
We have one more guest. We're going to be talking about the holidays again and talking about how to eat healthy during the holidays.